And welcome back everyone, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, the hardest career series. Today's episode I'm going to be test flying the next iteration, the next version of the Hawkk twin seat jet trainer. It's got a much larger engine on it, but I've had to tweak scale it down, so I'll show you very quickly in the aircraft hangar and then we shall begin the test flight. Okay, so this is the Hawkk Mk2. And practically the only difference between the Mark 1 and the Mk2 is the J404 replaced the original engine we had in this. So it's the Panther afterburning turbofan. Right now it's 0.78 and that's dry. I'm hoping that you can switch modes without having to set up an action menu, but it might be necessary to right click on it during the flight. For now, we'll switch to wet mode, which is afterburner. Otherwise, I'll just reheat. Switch it back off again. You see it go down to 0.78 again. Let's head out. We'll see how this flies. If there's any modifications, we'll do those straight away. We'll come straight back. If any problems, engine failures, obviously we'll come straight back and replace the engine, and head straight back out again. So we actually get a good length of test flight. We'll try and test it at altitude as well. See how high we can get with this. If we, as we have done with our other altitude attempts, we'll go as fast as we can at about 2.5, 3 kilometers, and then we'll pitch up. But first of all, we'll test it genuinely for its performance. Okay, so the first test flight of the Mk2 Hawkk jet trainer is only racing in the cockpit for now by itself. And also, we do need to set this on a action group menu, an action key, because it doesn't do it automatically. So we've got to keep right clicking on the engine. So we'll leave it on reheat mode so we get the best performance. Okay, SS is on. Brakes off. Go to full throttle. Do we really need the lights on racing? Don't think we do. About 20 minutes worth of fuel at full throttle with reheat. Yeah, I forgot how nose heavy this was. Whoa, okay. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this before. I'm going to use Cramax Autopilot just to hold the wings level. Just while I do this, it's easy to be adjusted down to 0.5. You have to do them each at a time, because with the fire splitter parts, which is what these rings are from, the fire splitter mod, in the aircraft hangar, they are symmetrically adjusting. But in the flight sim, for some reason, that turns off. So I need this adjusting down so it'll start to oscillate as well on pitch. It is very awkward. Okay, there we go. Got 300 meters a second already. Of course, all of the jet engines are actually, including the propeller engines, are actually better at lower altitudes in performance when it comes to flatline speed. Once you're at about 5 kilometers, you begin to see a pretty dramatic dip in performance. strange. Actually rolling. That's 0.5. Yeah, both 0.5. You can clearly see it is actually rolling over slightly. Strange. Okay, just about level anyway. Yeah, not fantastic. Considering it's got reheat, it's supposed to be a much more powerful engine. The TWR wasn't fantastic, even with full reheat on in the aircraft hangar on it. Engineer redux. Not fantastic at all. I'm not impressed at all. We're well under 1500 meters in altitude, and we're still 336. Oh wait a minute, I know why. You don't get your Mach readings unless it's actually named as an aircraft. For some reason these cockpits are all named as ships rather than aircraft. As soon as you get aircraft, there we go. So you've got the readout now. Mach 1. Yeah, okay, Mach 1 at this altitude maybe. At least sea level it's 343 meters a second. Ah dear. Yeah. Again. Disappointing. On paper it should be far more capable. Because this engine's performance doesn't drop off the faster it goes up to about Mach 2. And it begins to dip off. But it's not fantastic power. I did need to tweak scale it. So it fitted the actual scale of the aircraft. So maybe that's why. It's the same whenever you do anything with tweak scale. It decreases the mass. But decreases the power double. So you can halve the mass and it more than halves the thrust that you're getting from the engine. The other way around, it increases the mass. But only increases the thrust by half the amount of mass. So it doesn't help performance at all. But the engine is pretty huge. Okay, we've got another, I believe another 2 jet engines we can try. So what I'm going to do, we're going to turn around. So I'm not impressed by this, but we'll try an altitude first of all. But once we finish the altitude test, as in pull straight up, see how high we can get before it cuts out. We'll head back after that, we'll land, and I'll fit one of the other 2 engines we've got available. There's at least 2 other, there's one other version of this engine, and there's another completely new engine. So we'll try those 2. Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's the G-forces on racing? They do not want him passing out. Okay, we'll keep at this pitch. To let you. Okay, just past 12 kilometres. So that's 230 meters per second and 12.5 kilometers. It's not bad. Sounds like it's better with this performance test than straight flat speed. Okay, just past 200 meters a second. It's time to drop right off now, which isn't surprising. Approaching 15 kilometers. So it's quite possible it could be better at altitude than it is at lower altitudes. Wouldn't be the first time a jet engine has been better. But it didn't seem to appear to be that on the engineer redux readout on the aircraft hangar. Up to 16 kilometers. I've got absolutely no No. No, not enough. Not enough flatland speed. Not enough airspeed to keep the wings supplied with enough air to keep lift active. You can see the pitch control. Okay. Oh, we call it 16 kilometers. I think maybe 2 of these engines. Okay, so back in the aircraft hangar, I have not switched the engine out. I've just been testing the engine we have already. This is with reheat engaged. So increase the power. See the TWR increasing. We're at 2.1 kilometers, just over 2 kilometers in altitude, and we should have had more than enough. So 1.3. To about Mach 1.5, and it goes to Mach 1.3, and it switches to over twice the TWR. We really don't need anything more than that. So I'm thinking it could be something causing drag. Or in fact, it could be the control services. As I said, they're not adjustable in the same manner you would adjust the standard control surfaces. To have these. But we got better performance from the previous engine we had. So that's not too good. Mass says 458 kilos versus 32.411 kilonewtons. At 32 kilonewtons, it would not give us 2.22 without 1.41 Mach. So I'm thinking there's something wrong here. It's giving us completely the wrong. It could be giving us the scale, as in the original scale of the engine, which was J404 Panther. What's the other engine we've got to test? The D30F7 turbofan. Again, somewhat larger. Well, this one, J404, is down here. As we get to it. Okay, so that's it. So stationary thrust is 85 kilonewtons. Stationary thrust there is 130. That's obviously dry and wet. Maximum thrust 107.885 kilonewtons. And that's at Mach 1.8. Which doesn't actually resemble what we saw here. The atmospheric carry is nowhere near that. It's a lot higher than that. So obviously because you rescaled it, it must have... it's also got vectoring thrust, which wasn't working. So that's not good. Well, because we rescaled it, maybe? So this is wet. 1.19. So that's at sea level. And stood still. This is the Tiger. This is the Tiger. It's a decent size, but will not offer us anything like the performance. No. 0.38. Or 1.41. with the afterburner on. That's a very efficient engine if you don't have the afterburner on. And switch it to a very powerful 1.4 with the actual reheat on. What's a 2 kilometers again? We'll test this one. 1.25. We'll drop off until we get to about Mach 0.6. There we go, Mach 0.4, Mach 0.3, that's a lot lower. So Mach 0.7 goes up to 2.14 TWR. So this engine, even though it doesn't look it, when you actually first glance at it, so Mach 1, it's actually a better performing engine than the one we just tested. Which is why this is invaluable. But I'm pretty sure there must be something wrong with whenever you rescale these engines, there's always a slight issue. Okay, so we've got the Tiger. So I think we'll test the J21 now. And then we'll try the D30F7. There's no actual name with that. I think that's all we've got. Unless you want to go into... Can I have that? Thank you very much. So I want to go into propeller engines again. But it's got the Cheetah afterburning turbo fan. That's a bit too advanced. You can see this, the cowling and everything. And this one, the Vector, which is a V2L applications. I've got the Mule, 170, but it's the wrong type of cowling around it. That's either Mach 1 or Mach 2. Yeah, it's for space planes. Like that one. Okay, I think that's about it. And these are for the V12 applications. So I've got the Tiger and the D30F. I think that's all we've got to test. There is some down here with rocket engines. Yeah, okay, so we'll test this one first. I'll adapt it, obviously. And then we'll head out, we'll let it build. It'll take at least a day. Once it's finished being built, we'll roll it out and we shall test fly this one first, and we'll test the other engine as well. Okay, so this time we're leaving from the desert airfield. Okay, engine is actually active. Well done, I've placed the reheat function or the RCS key. So turn it off and back on. Okay, here we go. RCS on. No, SES on. RCS off. Brakes off. Okay, RCS on, or reheat. So we've got 2.5 hours worth of fuel at full throttle with dry. With the reheat on our afterburner, we've got 17 minutes. Okay, so it looks like the thrust of the engine is keeping the nose down. It is quite nose heavy, we knew that already. It's quite dependent on its reheat for any level of power. Okay, never mind, we'll head up to 2 kilometers. We'll leave on full power. Well, obviously you can't throttle the engine back, even though it's on reheat, it will actually still throttle back. Let's use the autopilot. It's easier while you're messing around with things. Oh, so that increases the drag as well. So I've got to be careful of is that it's 2 kilometers in altitude on sea level. 1.5 or so kilometers above the surface. So if the surface comes up and hits us, that's not going to be too clever. It's not a very smart thing to do. Okay, so wing pitch seems to be at 0.5 already. So why on earth are we getting... Wait a minute. Wing pitch 0.7. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that was already at 0.5, so obviously... Oh, dear me. 0.7. I clicked on the wrong one there. Yeah, I think I probably did do. And it's still doing that. And because it's doing that, we can't really measure the flatline speed. So it's constantly bobbing up and down. Yeah, not exactly fantastic, these control surfaces, to be perfectly honest. Probably need to change them at some point. But 0.3. I've got no real pitch control. That's the only thing about using these. Became so low there, the aircraft thought it was landing. And it's still bobbing up and down. Not very good. I mean, the aircraft itself at low speed is quite nice. It's nice and manoeuvrable, but as soon as you try going at high speed, it starts to wobble. Let's fit pitch, sort of pitch out. It's a bit silly. Trying to hold the pitch as in manually adjust it. Of course, the pitch does increase the drag, so it's not fantastic in the way of a true test. Go to 1.5. It actually lets me. Yeah, once again, not very impressed at all. So I'm thinking there's something inducing drag. We have plenty of TWR, especially with full reheat on. So I'm thinking it's these air brakes which are sticking out slightly, and also the undercarriage as well. The nose carriages, but it was actually exactly the same configuration as with the Juno, and we got better performance from it. But we certainly are getting better performance with these engines. Which we really should be. Fuel flow is prime, 100%. 51.3 kilonewtons does not give us where we should be right now, which is more than 3 times the TWR. Yep, it's not even technically Mach 1. Well, technically it is, but only because of altitude. Yeah, we're definitely not getting the performance we should be at 3:1 TWR, which is what we should be about Mach 1. It's about 3. About 3 times TWR, but I noticed a bit of heating. We've got heating effects here towards the rear of the aircraft, around this area and here. So I think it could be part of the structure could be blocking the thrust of the engine. No, technically it shouldn't be. Okay. Let's head back to this airfield and we'll land, and then we'll see what I can do. Head back into the aircraft hangar, maybe pull this engine out so it's not actually pushed in. Just did that to make it look a bit tidier, but we won't do that. I think I'll bring the engine down a little bit to try and offset the issue when it was taking off there. It was sort of pushing the nose down onto the tarmac, so we'll try and fix that as well. But Rayson's enjoying himself by looking at it. Okay, so we'll head back into the aircraft hangar, and then I will pull that engine out and we'll try again. Okay, so for the next version of the Hawkk trainer, so what I've done, trying to make it a little bit more streamlined, so I've moved the air brake from the top here. Moved the wings slightly up, so they're in line with the rear tailplanes. I made the rear tailplanes slightly more close horizontal, not quite horizontal. And I've directly attached the engine instead of sort of using the offset tilt, which is what I did before. I used the offset tilt, so I'm thinking maybe the offset tilt, pushing it in to the tank here, make it a little bit more streamlined, actually affected its performance. And the nose one is slightly further in, make it a little bit more streamlined, as well as the rear bogies as well. Okay, hopefully this works. Okay, SS is on. Oh dear mate, so let's reverse that. Just a second. Okay, there we go. Okay. Well, disappointing though in these engines. They do rely on the reheat quite a lot, but even so, I would expect better performance from this. Considering the TWR, it's a lot higher than previous engines we've had. Well, you would expect them to be able to perform a little bit better than this. Okay. Yeah, also, I think there's something wrong with these fire spitter wings. These control surfaces. Thinking that could be one of our main issues. If I bring them down at all, down to about 0.5, we don't have enough pitch control to be able to land safely. Which is very strange. And they shouldn't be able to be chasing a needle the way they are doing. The only real way to actually fly is by without SAS on. Which luckily is quite nicely balanced, so it isn't such an issue. But once again, we are not getting the power we should be from this engine. We just aren't getting the power level we should be. It's losing power. We're losing control. Every time we try and put SAS on. $331. According to the oh, I've done that again, haven't I? Switch that very quickly before we crash. If it actually lets me. Yeah, Mach 1, according to the Kerbal engine redux readout in the aircraft hangar, we should have 3-to-1 TWR. Well, I'm sorry, this is not 3-to-1 TWR, is it? There's no way this is 3-to-1. 3 point something to 1. No way. We should be going literally like a rocket. And we are not doing so. So obviously something is inducing a lot of drag. And I don't think it's these fire spitter wings. That is what I'm thinking. It's got plenty of power. When we saw that, and it got to 16 kilometers when it only started just over 300 kilometers a second. We see that when you pitch up, it's increasing in speed. We can see all the resistance here. Not as much resistance as we used to have on the nose wheel with the previous version. We are getting quite a resistance off the wings. Yeah, I've no idea what that is. No, never mind. Okay, disappointing. Disappointed about the handling as well, but it only seems to happen with these control surfaces. So I'm thinking it may be an issue with the an increasing drag with these fire spitter parts. Oh well, I can't see the point in fitting the next engine, the D30F. There's no reason to it. It's exactly the same as this. Okay, we're going to land, but disappointing. Another disappointing episode, unfortunately. sometimes it happens. Hopefully for the next episode I'll prove a little bit more successful when we test the next aircraft on our list. But I do think we need to get rid of these fire spitter wings, these wing components. I think they're the parts that are causing these issues. Okay, let's go and let Racing land at the desert airfield. I've got a lot of control there now, so that's an improvement. So new positioned rear tailplanes, foot rudder, and slightly high positioned main wing seem to have done the trick on manoeuvring, but yeah. But unfortunately, we're not getting anything more than Mach 1. Okay, let's go ahead and land, and then we shall recover racing. Hopefully in one piece. I think he wants to stay out a bit longer. Okay, so we covered the aircraft from the airfield. Just me click on that. Okay, so rather disappointing, but I do think that we have got an inducement of excess drag from those fire spitter wing parts. That's what I believe is going on there. So I think those parts are actually good for subsonic jet aircraft and maybe supersonic up to about Mach 1. Obviously we need 2 of those engines on there to be able to push an aircraft that size over, which you shouldn't really need to with 3-to-1 TWR, but as I said, I think we're producing far too much drag with those fire spitter parts. I'm going to drop those fire spitter parts for the next aircraft. I think that's why I've got rid of them all. I'm going to put my own wings together. I think would be the best way to do it. Alright, that's all we've got time for today. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to click like. It is appreciated. Also, clicking the subscribe button if you do enjoy the content, and sharing the content is greatly appreciated. It does help the channel grow. If you to leave a comment to ask a question or suggestions as to what you think is going on there with those engines, you're more than welcome to leave a comment or a question. But do please remember, I do have a moderator team that goes through the comments and the question before they get to me, so it can take a while for me to respond to you. I'll try and get to everyone. However, sometimes time does tend to sort of beat me. Alright, once again, thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next episode. In the meantime, as always, take care. Bye bye.